Hello and welcome to Opportunity International Canada's International Women's Day 2023 webinar. My name is Stephanie Joseph and I will be your host during this time together. On behalf of my colleagues at Opportunity Canada, thank you for taking time to celebrate International Women's Day with us and for being part of something incredible. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Embrace Equity. As we join together in community with others all across the globe, we not only imagine a gender equal world, one free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, but also one that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive. On such an impactful day, we are pleased to feature a program as important as the Youth Apprenticeship Program, having a great impact on the youth in Ghana, with approximately 90% of the participants young women. Some housekeeping before we get started. At the bottom right of your screen shows a chat button and a Q&A button. We invite you to participate in either of those ways as they become available throughout the presentation. In a few moments, we'll hear from Opportunity Canada's CEO, Dan Murray. Dan will share a few opening remarks as we get started. Next, our keynote speaker today will be Lydia Bafour-Awa, our colleague from Opportunity UK. She will share about the Youth Apprenticeship Program. Lydia has pre-recorded her presentation because of a potential scheduling conflict with Opportunity UK's own International Women's Day event. Lydia will join us after this presentation for the live Q&A time, where we invite you to ask questions about our work with at-risk youth in Ghana. And as we wrap up, we will have a new board member who'll be joining us today. She returned from a visit to the field in February and will be sharing a few words. All right, let's get started. Dan, over to you.
Well, thanks, Steph, and welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today on this International Women's Day 2023. As Steph mentioned, the IWD theme this year is Embrace Equity. In a few minutes, like she said, you'll be hearing from my amazing global colleague Lydia as she talks about the Youth Apprenticeship Program in Ghana. Last September, I had the privilege of traveling in Ghana with Lydia and visiting some YAP clients, as we call them. I came away inspired by these young women and more committed than ever to this transformative program. But before Lydia joins us, I've been asked to provide a short update from Opportunity International Canada. You know, these last few years of global crisis have pushed millions of people deeper into poverty, and women have been disproportionately impacted in the countries where we serve. Our enduring passion and the reason that we exist is to help some of the most marginalized people on this planet we call home to leave poverty behind by acquiring a sustainable livelihood. Through financial inclusion, training, and market supports, women acquire the confidence, skills, and assets needed to launch and grow a small enterprise. We at OIC aim for large impact and total numbers of people helped, but always we walk people out of poverty one client, one family at a time. And this is a transformation that leaves me in awe when I see it in action. And just imagine with me the journey out of poverty. A family without a sustainable income is vulnerable in so many ways to hunger or poor health, privation, the elements, and exploitation. For those trapped in this dehumanizing reality, each new day does not bring new hope. But there is hope. A woman who has kept her family alive in such challenging circumstances obviously has great resilience. It's humbling to think how we might fare in a similar situation. And so a small loan and some training can tap into this resilience and unleash a whole world of opportunity as women gain confidence and begin to earn an income. And that regular small income is a catalyst that changes the future for a family, providing necessities such as food, shelter, and education. But the deeper change is a transformation of hope. Suddenly, with each sunrise, there is new hope for the possibilities of each day ahead. And I've seen this hope firsthand in the eyes of women in many countries where we serve. And here at OIC, we want to do so much more to help as many people as possible. So to that end, we've launched a new 3-year strategic plan this past January with the overriding goal to at least double our impact in the field over the next 3 years. Now, as an aside, I'm making a personal commitment to raise some funds this year in support of this new strategic plan. This coming August, OIC Board Chair John Mack and I will join Peter Thorpe, one of our amazing supporters, to hike the final 400 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail up to the Canadian border. It's a fundraising effort we call Walking People Out of Poverty. And each day, we will hike for our clients, symbolically walking with them on their journey out of poverty. And also this June, an amazing couple in BC, PL and Kristen Mindertsma, are riding the 4,300 kilometers of the Continental Divide to raise funds for 5 charities, including OIC, the first event in a 5-year, 5-continent initiative they call Cycle 5 to Survive. But back to the new strategic plan. A key goal of the plan is to strengthen our current work, including the women's mentorship, rural agriculture, and youth apprenticeship programs with our partner Sinapi Abba in Ghana, or the Pathway to a Better Life program with our partner Foncose in Haiti, the Aspiring Women program with our partner Aspire in the DA, microfinance capacity building with our partner IDH in Honduras, or IDH for those of you who have been to Honduras, and the Community Health Entrepreneur Program in India in collaboration with several microfinance organizations. But we're also looking to expand and to re-engage in some other areas. We're actively planning our engagement in emerging and some very inspiring opportunities to fight poverty in Nicaragua with our partner Academic, and in Colombia in collaboration with Agape. And finally, we aim to strengthen our commitment to Opportunity International global programs that are operating in over 30 countries, particularly education finance and agriculture finance. Our team is passionate and energized and ready to tackle the challenge to truly double our impact over the next 3 years. But on this International Women's Day, we renew our commitment to embrace equity and to help some of the most marginalized women find their voice, their agency, and their confidence to build a brighter future for their family. Thank you for your generous support, without which none of this work would be possible. And now, let's take a deep dive into one program that's very close to my heart, the Youth Apprenticeship Program in Ghana. Steph, back over to you.
Thank you for sharing that update, Dan. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our guest speaker, Lydia Bafour-Aoua. Lydia is a Senior Program Manager at Opportunity UK, having over 20 years experience in the financial inclusion sector. She's worked and supported financial institutions across Africa to address the challenges and opportunities related to financial inclusion, especially for women and youth. Much of Lydia's recent work has focused on women's economic empowerment initiatives, and she's served as the gender lead for Opportunity Canada's Global Affairs Canada-funded FinDev project in Ghana. As we are about to hear from Lydia, we invite you to put any questions you may have into the box. You can access the box by clicking on the Q&A button in the bottom right corner of your screen. You can add your questions anonymously if you wish by checking the box. At this time, the chat button will close. You will note an arrow button beside questions that are posted, where you can also show your interest to that question by upvoting it. It is a pleasure to welcome Lydia today.
Hello, my name is Lydia Bafour-Aoua, a Senior Programs Manager at Opportunity International. I'm delighted to join you today as we celebrate International Women's Day and to share with you how Opportunity International is helping at-risk young women in Ghana unlock their potential. Globally, the rules and norms of society are stacked against women. This is particularly acute in the case of vulnerable young women in Ghana. Higher poverty levels and unequal access to opportunity increases their marginalization and put them in a particularly disadvantaged position as they start out in life. But we also know that when a young woman is given an opportunity, she is able to change the world. For a financially empowered woman can lift herself, her family, and entire community out of poverty. Now, I have been working with Opportunity International for the past 20 years, and I have had the privilege of seeing firsthand the transformational work that Opportunity International is doing. Last year, I had that privilege again to visit one of the trade masters that we have in Ghana. Her name is called Belinda. Belinda is an amazing woman, apprentice, trainee, and she is a trade master. But her story did not start like that. Like many of the young women in Ghana, the future looked bleak for her. Right after completing her primary education, her father passed away. She wanted to continue to become a beautician, but her mother could not afford to pay for the apprenticeship fee. As a result, Belinda had to start selling fish to be able to support her mother and to be able to keep something aside to learn a trade. Belinda's story is not unique. So many of the young women and girls that I've met and seen in Ghana have very similar stories to share. And in Opportunity International, day in and day out, as we assess who we are including and who we are excluding, these are the families that we want to continue to support, as we don't want to leave anyone behind. So in situations like that, in Belinda's situation, what do we do? How can we support Belinda? Give her a handout or a hand up? Interestingly, our partner in Ghana, Snappy Abba Savings and Loans Limited, runs a fantastic and innovative youth apprenticeship program in Ghana that we call YAP. YAP tends to target at-risk and vulnerable young women and girls ages 15 to 25. They are then attached to an experienced mentor that is called a trade master to learn the trade of their choice. As most of them are illiterate and they have very low self-esteem, Snapiaba continues to train them in vision building and to be able to build their confidence. They are provided with financial literacy training to be able to manage their finances. And as they work alongside their trade master, not only are they learning about the technical know-how of this chosen vocation, but also they know and learn how to run a small business. As they complete their 36 months vocational training, they are registered to take the National Vocational Training Examination, the government-approved certification, which help them to formalize their training and to give them certification to be able to enter the labor market. Once they complete their trade, we organize graduation ceremony for them, as you can see in the photo, to celebrate their achievement together. And for those who want to set up their own businesses, we also go ahead to give them a startup capital so they can utilize their newly found skills. Others also, because they have that professional qualification, are able to be employed by others in their community to earn a living. It does not end there. Opportunity continue to mentor them, to coach them so that they can become successful business people. All these are made possible because their training fees, materials, and the tools that they need to learn the trade are covered by the program. So let me end by telling you about Belinda. We started with the story of Belinda. Today, Belinda is a skills beautician and a trainer who specializes in makeup, manicure, pedicure, and specialty hairstyles like the one I'm wearing today. She beats all odds, and because she was given an opportunity, she sees it with both hands. And today, she is also paying back. She's now running 4 thriving beauty salons. She is confident and respected community leader. And most crucially, she's a role model for other at-risk young women. She's trained over 40 young women who have also gone ahead to become productive entrepreneurs, and they are also paying forward in training other young people. So training one woman at a time, this is a smart investment. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some of the apprentices that Belinda is currently training that I met in Ghana.
Golden touch. Let's mention it and we will be at your service. Golden touch. Your beauty is our hallmark. Golden touch. First among the equals. Always ahead. Golden touch. Be empowered to succeed. Golden touch. We never stop learning. Golden touch. We give your head a royal treatment it deserves. Thank you.
I hope you've been inspired by the story of Belinda and her apprentices. Indeed, I can testify that I did experience the royal touch when I visited their salon in Ghana. But this is just to say that there are thousands of Belindas that have been supported through the program who have also experienced similar transformation. The same renewal of hope, thanks to Opportunity International. YAP offers such young women and boys a way out of poverty and help them develop new skills and experience to give back to society and to have a brighter future. Like Belinda, they have also experienced the hope, the renewal of hope, thanks to the opportunity given, and they see a future for themselves. Opportunity International recognizes a lot of Belindas in Ghana that they are hoping to support. I hope you will join us and be inspired to support more of the Belindas that we have in Ghana as we together embrace equity in this International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day, and thank you so much.
What an incredible program. We are so grateful that Lydia was able to share that with us today. Unfortunately, we have received word from Lydia that she will not be able to join us today after all. She sends her greetings. We are, however, very glad to have Opportunity Canada's Ute Rehill, Director of Programs and Business Development, step in for the live Q&A time. Welcome, Ute.
Welcome, everybody.
All right. Well, it's exciting to see some questions in our question and answer box here. Please feel free to still add your questions if you have them on your mind as we go through this time together. So let's take a look. Ute, how are the youth selected?
All right. First of all, I want to point out, watching those girls, they just make me smile. It's just such a cohesive, supportive environment for these young people that often have very little education. They haven't grown up in a hugely supportive environment. This is some of the first times they really deliver or they get some agency and some empowerment. So the selection process is very specific. it's quite important with this type of investment. It's a 3-year investment. It's an expensive investment, although not for the impact made. However, it's important that we really select the right participants. So it's an extensive process where the participants are interviewed, the apprentices. The staff look for the seriousness of the person and how committed they might be to this process, going over a whole period of 3 years, of course. They also really evaluate the need. Can they really not afford, can that family really not afford the typical apprenticeship fees? Are there other barriers for the family? So it's a look at the apprentices themselves, their family need, their family situation. Is their family supportive? In a lot of cases, there are parents and guardians, but they can't afford to shell out fees for the apprenticeship. But are they at least supportive emotionally? And are they there for them? Do they have a stable home? Are they, do they have a place to call home at night, so that there's consistency in the program? And I think those are some of the key ones.
Awesome. Thanks, Ute. Do most apprentices go on to own or to start their own businesses or to find jobs?
Yeah, it's a real mix. Obviously, they do have a formalized apprenticeship certificate at the end of this that's recognized by the government of Ghana, which is quite valuable, whatever they choose to do. So many of them can get jobs. There's currently 5 cohorts going. So some are in more rural areas, some are in urban areas. There's one in Accra. So depending on what the job situation is, many will start their own. It's probably around 50-50, but it'll very much depend on the area. Some will do their own, and some will just join another or stay with the existing trade master as well. And as you saw, I don't know if you noticed in the picture, the beautiful dresses the girls wore, they all matched, but they're all slightly different. And in one of the recent cohorts started, there's a large number of dressmakers because it is a very high demand job, and a high demand. Lots of women are getting their clothes made, unlike what we see here. So
wonderful. Let's see. I think we've got time for a couple more questions here. What type of trades could the youth learn? So we saw some shown today. Are there any others that perhaps weren't pictured?
Yeah, typically it's really anything they want. The idea is that the youth are recruited and selected, and depending on what trade their chosen trade is, a trade master is selected. So across Ghana, we have a lot of relationships through the Sanapi Abat branch network, of course, with existing business owners who are then screened also to be appropriate trade masters. There's a lot more that goes into it than being a boss. Some of these people require more mentorship, some of these young people, depending on their circumstances. So, but the selection is made based firstly on the person's choice, on the young person's choice. So we have, as you saw with Belinda, beauticians, we have hairdressers, we have dressmakers, we have some more electrical trades, auto mechanic trades. So just caterers, bakers, so a wide variety. But as I think Lydia pointed out, over 80 to 90% of the youth tend to be girls. And that's partly because they don't have as good of access to the formal economy. So, and formal jobs, and often are held back in education as their parents can't afford to send all their kids to school. So often girls are held back. So that's why we have a bigger representation of girls. And so that'll influence a little bit what the jobs are that they select.
Thank you, Ute. Let's just take a look and see if we've got a couple more questions here that are popping in. Thanks for everyone sharing your questions with us today. Talking about the follow-up, is there follow-up that happens after that 3-year training commitment with the trade master?
Yes, there is follow-up through year 4. obviously the apprentices that select to start their own businesses and apply for the loan program are more closely followed, or they're more easily traceable. Sometimes if the apprentices move away into different jobs, then it's more difficult to keep in touch. But yes, there is certainly effort made. There's post-program surveys to see how it's working out for them. So definitely, for sure.
Okay.
And I saw, just sorry, I'm seeing at the top, there's a question about financial training. Yeah, this is as most of Opportunities programs are. This is also a very holistic program. So there is, in addition to financial training, and these kids in a lot of cases haven't been taught the basic things we try to teach our teenagers here. So they don't know how to save, they don't know how to handle money, they've often had nothing to handle. And they are even taught things like health, just general sanitation things, how to manage themselves. They're provided if they're really unable to afford food, and that's typically a small percentage, but can be a food stipend if required. There's health insurance if required. And this really is all done to build up, to make them as successful as possible. So it's completely holistic. And the training is provided in many cases by the program staff at Sinapi, but also this has a lot of government support. So in some cases, government officials will be brought in to provide certain training or certain feedback. So it is a very collaborative type of program.
That's wonderful. I think the last question that's here was a reference to, is there availability in within Ghana in the smaller village areas? You did mention Accra. Did you want to touch on that?
Sure. Yes, there is 5, like I said, there is 5 cohorts going, and typically they try to start one each year in different areas, as they go for 3 years. So, and I won't be able to say the names of the other locations, but typically they are centered around maybe some of the other smaller cities and more rural areas. So they will pull in, the Sinapi branches will pull in from rural areas all around them. And so yes, there will be a lot that are in more rural locations than Accra. This is the first one started in Accra in 4 years. So.
Wonderful. Super. Well, it looks like that concludes the questions that have come in today. Ute, thank you so much for helping us understand the program even more and joining us today. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's one of my favorites, so I'm happy to talk about it. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So if you had a question that was on your mind but didn't ask, you're welcome to reach out to one of your local Opportunity staff. We'd be happy to talk with you about that some more at a later time. Thank you very much for the questions offered today. And let's move on to our next portion here. I'd like to invite Jackie Dinsmore to join us. Jackie is the Managing Director. Let's see. Hi, Jackie. Thanks for joining us today. Jackie is a managing partner and co-owner of Caravel Law in Toronto. She has sat on the Opportunity Canada board since May 2021. And Jackie saw our work firsthand last month while visiting the Dominican Republic. We are very pleased that you're here to share with us today. Jackie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Steph. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I thought it might be helpful to give a bit of context on how I came to know and love Opportunity International. I'm a lawyer by education, but really a serial entrepreneur. I had volunteered for charities from time to time, but I always felt a bit disconnected. Didn't really appreciate or understand the impact they were making, the goals they had, what they were trying to accomplish. I was basically just checking the volunteer box. And, I think we all give, $25 here or $20 here to people that are, doing bike rides or walks or things like that. And I always did that. But this actually was one further step forward. When my daughter was 11, she expressed an interest in starting a business with me with a philanthropic angle. And so we designed a dress that had 4 different colors, and each color represented a cause that we wanted to support. And this little venture opened up my eyes to philanthropy under a very different light. And through the connections made through that little program, I was introduced to Opportunity International. And OI hit all the chords for me. As an entrepreneur, it didn't provide the fish, it taught people to fish. And providing that sense of independence and accomplishment and promoting entrepreneurship, especially among women, was amazing. I mean, how amazing is that? And then I got the opportunity to visit the field, as Steph mentioned, and really saw the work being done in person, real people, real poverty, and real solutions delivered with love, empathy, and kindness. As a mom to a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old now, the Youth Apprenticeship Program really hits home to me. You know, focusing on high-risk, vulnerable youth, 80% who are women the same age as my daughter. And giving them the opportunity to escape crime and drugs and prostitution and gangs and chronic depression and suicide, you know, giving them a sense of purpose so they can transition into confident, economically and socially productive income earners. You know, what better way for us to help? I haven't seen many programs with such an incredible vision like this, you know, allowing these young women at risk the opportunity to get certified in a profession that will allow them to have a future they otherwise would never have imagined. So I guess here's my ask. I was told that the cost of this program is $875 to go through this 3-year apprenticeship. We'd love to help, you know, 250 youth start this journey. So if you're able to make a financial commitment of $875 or even a portion of that, it would change a young person's life forever, many who are women. And like, what a great gift on International Women's Day. So thank you for considering and being here and listening to me and listening to everyone else. It means so much to us. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Jackie. So appreciate having you here today. Thank you. If you would like to make a gift today, you're going to receive an email as soon as this webinar is over, which will include a donation link. We would be so grateful for your support of this special invitation initiative and our special invitation today. We give thanks to you, our dear friends and supporters of Opportunity International's clients, our implementing partners, and our overall work. We are so grateful that you took time to join us today as we believe for a brighter future for all women, and particularly those in Ghana, with an opportunity to step out of a cycle of extreme poverty and change their futures for good. A special thanks to those of you who have already made a gift in support of this important program. Currently, we have a tally of over $15,000 that has been raised towards our goal of putting 250 youth through this next cohort, which, as Jackie mentioned, will help end the cycle of poverty for these young people. And thank you to those of you considering how you may contribute today. In a few days, you will receive an email with this recording, and we'd love if you would share it with a family member or friends or colleagues who may also have an interest in this work. Thank you for joining us today as we embrace equity, we embrace dignity, and we embrace opportunity. This concludes our webinar. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.